boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the new Christmas action adventure film directed by Jake Kasdan, who is reteaming with Dwayne Johnson for this film, who stars alongside Chris Evans, Lucy Liu, and J.K. Simmons. Red One, which will be out in theaters Friday, November the 15th. And this film follows Santa Claus, who is codenamed Red One, who is kidnapped, and the North Pole head of security, who is played by Dwayne Johnson, must team up with the world's most infamous bounty hunter, played by Chris Evans, Captain America himself, in a globe-trotting, adventure-packed mission to save Christmas. And this is a film that was produced by Amazon Prime and MGM Studios, and it was initially going to be released straight to Prime Video. And they decided, it's good enough. It's good enough to be released in theaters. We might can recoup some of this $250 million that we spent on the budget. $250 million for a film that they were going to release on streaming. Yes, they had to release it in theaters. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to make that money back. Red One was not a good movie. And it's kind of upsetting in a way. Normally I'll be upset. The only way to make me upset if I have some level of expectation. I go in there like, okay, it's gonna it may appeal to my action senses. I'm not really looking for story, and so it may appeal to my action sensory nerves or whatever, or the special effects. If the visual effects look real good, maybe it'll be pleasing to my eyes in some shape, form, or fashion. None of that. None of that really set off any bells and whistles. Now, the action was the action. It actually had some pretty decent action in it. It is a Dwayne Johnson film. So, of course, there's going to be action. And it had some pretty decent visual effects. As I said before, Jake Kasdan, he's the one who directed this film, teaming up again with Dwayne Johnson. They worked together on the two Jumanji films, which were pretty good. At least the first one was really good. The second one, not as good as the first, but it was decent, so it was kind of a no-brainer. They can work well together. I didn't have any complaints with Dwayne Johnson in those films, and the direction of those films are pretty good. So that was my only thing that really was driving me to see this movie, is their team up, their ability to work together. They should have picked another project. This was a dumb idea. Well, let me take that back. I'm being unfair, because as you watch this film, they have some really decent ideas for an actual franchise, which they were planning on doing. I don't know if it's still in the cards, but there was a plan in place to turn this into a franchise. I think they should have waited to announce all that till after this movie came out, so they don't look like they got egg on their face, because they dropped the ball with this film. It's kind of caught in this little limbo or purgatory, if you will, of being a Christmas family type film and a action film with some hard subject matter, not too hard. I'm not talking, oh, Batman story, killed my parents, now I'm coming for vengeance, nothing like that. It's just, I don't know. The two tones didn't mesh with this film, and it didn't work out. Dwayne the White Rock Johnson, And I throw The Rock in there because as of late he's come back to the WWE for a couple of appearances and he's rocking it, no pun intended, in the WWE since he returned for these appearances. But uh, he was pretty good in here. I'm not blaming him for this film's shortfalls. I actually enjoyed him in here. To kind of throw it back to what I was discussing earlier about him and Jack Canston, they do work well together. You know, Jack or Jake, I should say, he has the ability to get those moments out of Dwayne Johnson, and it's some really good moments that we had in here. Not all the way through, and I think the screenplay kind of abandoned him on that front, but he did decent. Chris Evans, Chris Evans was Chris Evans. There's really nothing else to say. He didn't move the needle here. He I don't know, man. Life after Captain America just has not blew up for Chris Evans, and it's sad. It hurts me to say that. You know, because he was the anchor, or at least one of the anchors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when he played Steve Rogers, Captain America. You know, and since he's left that franchise, Robert Downey Jr. left that franchise, it hasn't quite been the same. Robert Downey Jr. is returning to that franchise, playing a different character, but he's returning nonetheless. Chris Evans may want to consider returning. Now, he did in a sense in Deadpool and Wolverine, but I mean like in a big role. And so I'm really kind of worried about Chris Evans because I'm a fan. I like Chris Evans, and I need him to pick better roles, man. Because between this and oh my God, what was the name of that movie? I think it was on Apple TV. Him and Ana de Armas was in it. Horrible movie. Horrible. I don't even know why they made. I don't know why he signed up for it. So bad I can't even remember the name of it. So it's just bad. He needs to pick better projects. But like I said, just like Dwayne Johnson, he wasn't bad. They just didn't give him much to work with here. So it's not. Yeah, the performances really suffered. Lucy Liu, she was just there. She was just there. J.K. Simmons, he was just there, literally. I think we got maybe one scene where he was standing up. Everything else, he was just sitting, chilling. It was just bad. Now there were two good performances here, but I can't say who or what they are because it will go into spoiler territory. I will say this: the villain, really good. The villain was the best part of the movie. The problem was the villain wasn't in the movie enough, and it really didn't feel the stakes. You felt the stakes as long as the villain was on screen, but when the villain wasn't on the screen, those stakes were gone. It turned into a slapstick comedy of sorts. So that's what hurt it with me. I wish that we would have got more of the villain because I loved their performance. It wasn't the greatest performance of the year. I'm just saying in the scope of this film, it was the best performance. Like I said, I can't tell you who, but you have to see it for yourself. But the visual effects were decent. They had some really cool action sequences, the fight scenes. I did like the incorporation of folklore, all of these things that we grew up learning about when we were kids with, surrounding these holidays, because it wasn't just relegated to Christmas, but all these other holidays that have these figures that are associated with them were mentioned and even displayed in this film. And I thought that was unique and cool. Hence, I guess this is where they got the idea to possibly branch out and turn this into a franchise. Would have worked if it was executed properly, but it wasn't. It wasn't. I think they messed up. They spent way too much money on this film, and it it would have served better as a straight to Prime Video release. But who knows? You know, this is we're living in crazy times, as you can tell, and so this movie may come out and make $150 million opening weekend. It wouldn't shock me because we're living in the twilight zone as of late. So it wouldn't shock me. But as far as the quality, as far as this being a potential Christmas classic that we can watch every year, no. I've seen this, and if I never see it again, I won't lose a wink of sleep. Red One, which will be released in theaters Friday, November the 15th, gets a letter grade of a C minus. Yeah, it's watchable. It's something to check out, but nothing to run out and go see. But that's just my humble opinion. I would love to know your thoughts. Are you planning to check out Red One? Are you excited for a new Dwayne Johnson film where he has to save Christmas by saving Santa Claus from a kidnapping? Let me know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look up this show, look up all the programs on all of the social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. You can also find us on YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video, share this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Red One. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.